Yeah, my name is Anand Padmanabhan, and I'm a research associate professor in the Department of Geography and GI Science at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. And for iGuide, I serve as a managing director as well as the co-lead for our cyber infrastructure, core cyber infrastructure capability and services team. So today, kind of our presentation is about iGuide platform and the things we have on the platform. Um, since we have a small crowd here, I would say we will keep this maybe informal as a demo. And so feel free to interrupt me at any time. Um, so so that's kind of, I just want to set that as the stage. Like, yeah, feel free to interrupt, and we'll try to make this as an interactive session as possible. Um, and and I guess I have a deck, a bit of slides, but I don't think we need to go through the entire slide deck. I'll share my screen in a moment. Okay. Hope you guys can see my screen. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the thumbs up. Yeah. So I'm presenting this on behalf of our CI team. I have a number of things which we don't need to, as I said, we don't need to go through all these kinds of things that I have, but just as a starting point for us to go through these things. So most of you here might know what iGuide is, but if you don't, iGuide stands for the NSF-funded Institute for Geospatial Understanding through an Integrative Discovery Environment. And that integrative discovery environment is what we call the iGuide platform. So that's what we are going to share in this session today. This is again, this is a work from our whole CI team. This is the team that we have that has been contributing. And the idea where iGuide has three main kind of core themes that we work on as map, connect, and discover. And the iGuide platform essentially sits in this connect piece, connecting various domain sciences to data, to communities, to knowledge on the platform. So, and kind of this is the vision that we had for the platform. So this is a very quick introduction for iGuide. What I would say is for the platform itself, we have a number of components. Mainly, we are centered about what we call as knowledge elements. Basically, this is like a set of kind of knowledge nuggets, you can, if you will, like publications, data sets, maps, and so on, that are connected to each other. And we provide a search engine as well as connect to the to a high-end computing infrastructure through Jupyter environment. So this is what the interface looks like, and we will do the hands-on portion of it as well. So this is the interface, and you can go through it at platform.i-guide.io. So platform.i-guide.io. So this is kind of the framework that we have for this. This is maybe more of a technical details that we have from the front end. We are using React.js, and we have authentication out of the box in terms of the solutions. And thank you, Eric, for posting the link to the platform. And we also have a knowledge base in the backend, which is based on the Neo4j GraphDB, which does kind of the synthesis. So I'll go through mainly to, and kind of the platform code is also available online. So let me go through this. So this was like a very brief introduction, but I wanted to go to who is the platform for and what the platform can do. So who is the platform for? It's for educators, for researchers, for developers, as well as for policy experts. So you could have like educators host the materials on the platform and use JupyterHub that we have in your class. For researchers, you could link code, data, knowledge from your papers, etc. to help share or to disseminate knowledge. And for policy experts in terms of getting kind of access to the latest research. And developers, of course, you could share your code, your demo notebooks, and all those kinds of cool things. So what can the platform do for you? What can you do on the platform? I guess you can share knowledge by adding knowledge elements. So currently, these are the set of knowledge elements, but these could be increased. So we have publications and data sets, Jupyter notebooks, educational resources, maps, and codes. We have made it easy for you to add all these knowledge elements. So for example, if you want to add a publication, all you need is a DOI. Take a DOI, just put it there, and then it will automatically be able to extract the metadata, put that metadata there, and then you can submit your publications. The cool thing about it is you can also create like this knowledge networks, right? So like individual knowledge elements you have like publications, data sets, these might be individual pieces, but then you could link them, say, hey, this publication is associated with this data set and these notebooks are there. It created this map, it used these codes, but it is also related to this other publications. And so it's essentially you could form this network, and the platform allows you or provides you with easy mechanisms to do to form this kind of a knowledge network. And that's kind of a unique thing that we have in the platform. We also have like, if you want to explore the platform, explore this knowledge networks, you could like use like traditional keyword-based search, as well as use conversational smart search that we have in order to look at this and get responses based on the knowledge network that is there. So it is like, it's using LLM technologies and things like that. So, but it is the knowledge base is restricted to what we have in the platform. So you would get like credible answers and credible pointers also to the knowledge elements where the answers came from. You're also able to perform actions on these knowledge elements, like you're able to run the Jupyter notebook, you're able to find and download the data sets. You're also able to share data set. This is kind of a new thing that we have on the platform recently released. We have a mechanism for you to upload your data sets to the platform. So you have data set from your research that you want to share with others, and it is maybe not in another place. So you could put this in the platform. You could upload your data sets. You can add the data, metadata associated with it. And potentially you will also be able to get DOIs for this original data set. And this is coming soon, very soon, actually, in a month or so. We'll have this kind of feature that you're for the data sets that you have on the platform, you could request a DOI and be issued a DOI. You're also able to access high performance computing resources from the platform. So you could connect directly to HPC resources such as GPUs directly from the platform, say from example on Anvil. These are access resources. So you can access your Anvil resource or ASIS resource or other. We can also connect to other HPC resources. Basically, you are using this on-demand, open on-demand kind of a technology in order to do that. And you're able to run your Jupyter notebooks on these HPC environment directly through from the platform. So these are the things that we have on the platform and what you can do on the platform. So before we go to the hands-on, I would want to maybe pause here and try to get like if you have any questions, comments, or if there are some certain topics that we would like to explore, because we have done a number of these kinds of tutorials, and that's why I walked through the front part quickly. But we can focus on what topics that the group would like to discuss. Any questions people have? So again, I think these are the two things. Who is the platform for, and what can the platform do for you? So these are, I think, some of the things we will cover today. but we can focus based on people's needs and people's interests. Okay. Since I don't hear any questions, I'll keep moving on. So we have this platform.i-guide.io. So you can go on this. Okay, go to platform.i-guide.io. You click on login. You can use your university credentials to log in, or you can maybe use access credentials to log in. So it will take you to the mechanism. Okay, and so you get the various users. So once you log in, you could use either your access credential or your university credentials to log into the account. Once you're logged in, you could add elements like data sets, code, notebook, publications, etc. So this is a very simple process. This is a very simple form. So for example, if there is a publication, I think that's where I would want people to start. Get a URL for your publications. For example, it's already in the platform, so it will tell you that. But if it is not, you can pick its metadata and get that onto the platform. So maybe are you all able to log in successfully? Let's see that before I move on too much. Is everyone able to log in? So click on login, select your credentials, and then say we want to log in. Yeah. Others on the call, but especially people who have not logged into the platform before, really would appreciate, like, if you're able to log in, walk through this. Good. So if nothing else, I guess so we did that. You're able to use your login. You can update your profile, and then you can do another functionality. Yep, thank you for people who are able to log in. That's great. Once you're logged in, if you click on the button on the top, it will take you to the home page. There you will see like three things: map, connect, and discover. You can click on any of them. So let's say if I click on map, it basically gives you a map view of the data sets. For data sets that have spatial coordinates, you're able to find that data. Let's say you're looking at some of the data here, and that will show you maybe the associated element. You click on it and it will take you to that map element for whatever that knowledge element was. So map will basically provide you a map view of the data and the knowledge elements that we have. Connect is, as I said, one of the things that we do here is to have a connected view of everything. So this is not the entire set, but this is a subset of the knowledge elements that we have. And then the subset from that subset, you can see, like, for example, say this one is an educational resource. It's connected to many other things, as you can imagine. An educational resource is probably highly connected to a publication. Let's say this publication is connected to other things like for example, another publication, a data set, which is associated with this publication. So there are maybe two data sets or three data sets associated with this publications. And then there is another publications and another data set, which is also used in a different publication. So it's essentially you have this kind of a knowledge network which gets created. And you could find all these like data sets, and they are all color coded. So blue, I believe, are the data sets, red are the educational elements, this yellow are publications. Um, Green notebooks. And once you get to here, you could go to the notebook and you could see kind of what that notebook is about, the description of that notebook, a view of that notebook, and maybe the related elements to that notebook. In this case, this notebook is on um, heat exposure. Kind of. So if you go and look at the data sets that they have been using, they might be using Twitter data, and that's what it is. There is a publication there. It's kind of used in this educational resource as well, and other things associated with it. So another publication on heat exposure. So this kind of allows you to explore what is there um, in the platform. And then we have Discover, essentially, which allows you to do both the search as well as the smart search. So for example, if I was looking for, so since we looked at heat data sets in Chicago, let me do that. So this is kind of a traditional keyword search. So you just get, okay, anything which has Chicago there. So since that's a important keyword, then you have that heat, and you get kind of a, yeah, things associated. And then you can see the publications that are there, and then the data sets, the notebooks, educational resources, codes, and map there. So for any of these, like say, for example, let me take a publication. Okay. So city level analysis of Chicago. So we can go there. So this is a data set. And then this is a notebook. And for this notebook, for example, I could run this notebook directly on the iGuide Jupyter environment. So once you add a notebook, you can actually run it directly on the iGuide Jupyter environment, which basically starts up. This is actually being run on one of the Access computers, getting spawned the request, and then once it comes up, it will download kind of that notebook, and I have that code now with me, and I can actually run it. It opens it in the right kernel, so then you can persist it as well. So yeah, so this helps with kind of reproducing some of the works at all possible. So any question people have at this point? So that's the initial part. So let's say that was, I think we showed the normal search. And then there is also a search. If you click here, which will says try smart search, you could go there. And then there are kind of, you could have a conversational search. It also provides you some starter kind of questions based on what people have searched recently. So let's say if I want to do the same thing, what does farming sustainability in a telecoupled world address? So the question. And see, the smart search is thinking, and then it will give you an answer. So understanding and managing sustainability issues to a connected world. both nearby and distinct places. So this is about a publication. So we are asking a question about that publication. And so it gives you about the publication. It gives you links to maybe related things that it found, educational elements, the meta-coupling one, because that was kind of associated with the question of telecoupling. And then it finds all those kinds of things. So which is great. And then you can rate if you want to give a feedback on your answers, that whether it was positive or negative. So let's me see if I can ask it a different question. Let's say, okay, so it's another question. I'm just making up a question that it will think, and then human sentiment. So it's doing a complex. So this is using the RAG technologies. We have Yung Feng, who is kind of the primary developer here. So if you are interested in knowing a little bit more about the details of how this was implemented, I'm sure Yung Feng will be able to answer those. But yeah, the idea here is it will give you, so it has these kinds of knowledge elements on the platform, and then it will give you links to those knowledge elements. So that's with the smart search and sorry, that's with the smart search and the traditional search. Any questions? So we look through the map, connect, discover, everything, the smart search, give it a thing. So we look through all this. So this is a different question. So looking at aging dams, and then it will give you the data sets we have. We talked about knowledge elements. We have map. We have data sets. And each of these have tabs there. So I think if I go to the platform again, let's see. Oops, sorry. Go to the platform again, and each of these are here. So you could look at just one of these knowledge elements at a time and see, for example, if you're interested in all the data sets that we have around 78 data sets contributed from various sources. And then you can access and use them. So this is USDA, USGS data set. It didn't have the spatial point. Then it shows how it's connected to other things. Similarly, we have a bunch of notebooks. We have over 100 notebooks here from various contributors. Educational resources, publications, and codes. So, a number of these. So you can access each of them. And the other important thing you could do is you could contribute. So all these things, we can make this and we can also contribute. We also have a set of convergence curriculum, and all those curriculum elements have resources on the platform. So how do you contribute knowledge elements? You just go there to the platform. Once you log in, you can go to your profile page, or you can click on your profile page and say, add a certain thing. So for example, if I want to add a publication, it will ask me about the links for thing from the publication, and then the title, it will pick up, it will ask me for a thumbnail. And then this is another thing, like if I say, hey, okay, this publication is related with the publication which I already have, let's say for cyber, so that's what the publication is related to, and then I can create those links here. Okay. So we have also certain new features. So this is about contribution, about all these things that we have. We have spatial metadata. We also have the JupyterHub environment, which I showed you. And then we have two new things, which is kind of the Jupyter, the access access to HPC via on-demand, as well as uploading kind of new files and data sets. Maybe I can invite my colleague here potentially to do a demo for that part. Furkan, if you are able to share your screen and demo kind of just the part on accessing on demand on Anvil, as well as uploading data sets.
Sure. So let's start with the open on demand and HPC. So I'll start from, like Anand said, once you log in, there are multiple ways to for you to log in. But in order to access HPC, the first thing that you need to do is that we as iGuide, like, although we will provide you access to HPC, and there are ways to get access to HPC, but you need to register with Access, which Access CI first, and that will allow you. So using Access CI, and there is a different process to actually register with Access CI, which is I won't go into a detail of that, but if you are part of an NSF project, you should be able to get access to, you generally have access to Access CI resources. So using that, so once you have access to access resources, access ID, you register with access, and you get to a particular allocation based on your funding or your allocation. So you can and that allocation provides you, gives you access to some HPC resources, so you can launch those resources directly from the iGuide platform. So let me log in using Access, and then oops. Okay, so once you are in, most you will have access to HPC resources if your user status is trusted user plus. So like I said, if you hover over it, you can see that you can, if you have, you can use access ID to have access to several HPCs. So if you if you log in using Access and you still don't have access to the HPC resources, do reach out to us and using this support and contacts us page, and we can adjust your permissions accordingly. But let's assume all your permissions are in place, what I'm presenting right now. So if you log in here, you should see these advanced resources section in the drop down menu. So right now I have access to annual HPC, which is in at Purdue and Texas A&M ACE. So both of these are HPC resources. So let's see, if I start with annual HPC, it will take me to the annual open on demand directly, and it will give me all the information that's required to work with this HPC resource. I have several I'm part of several projects, so that's for you. It will depend on what projects you are in. And for instance, for in this annual HPC, annual HPC has this user interface, web interface, which allows you to interact with the HPC backend using your web browser. So that's what you can use. And different HPC resources have different applications, interactive apps, interactive apps installed on them that you can directly launch on HPC backends. For instance, Anvil HPC has a number of Geospatial like QGIS and the Jupyter Notebook, etc. All of these different interactive apps that can be launched directly on them. Similarly, if you want to see where your data resides, so you don't need to go to a particular terminal, you can access them directly in your files and storage directly. If I go here, it gives me a good user interface to actually work with. So a quick note here is that this open on demand right now is external to iGuide platform. So iGuide platform links to this open on demand HPC resource. But once you are in open on demand, you can interact with, submit, and work with all of these HPC jobs that you want to work with. Uh, uh, we are still working on making this link between iGuide platform and open on demand more meaningful and more useful for the user. But that's the next step that will be available, and that's still work in progress, and it will be available very soon in future releases. So that being said, similarly, like I said, these are some of the interactive apps. Similarly, if I want to go to Texas A&M, it will open up a similar open up a similar open on-demand interface for me. But you see, this is a little different. This is same open on demand, but still the interactive apps are different based on what Texas A&M has have installed and made available on their HPC resources. And their so that depends on, like I said, this is external to iGuide platform, but iGuide platform provides a link between these HPC resources, which will be useful for researchers, students, etc., who have actually access to these resources through NSF program. So that's on the HPC front end. The other element that I would really like to discuss is new data set feature. So if you submit a new data set right now, so previously iGuide platform till now has been like mostly like there are some externally hosted data set that you want to register on the iGuide platform and make these connections. For instance, if you have a particular project that you want to work, that particular project has some publication, some data set, and some code, all of that can be registered on the iGuide platform. And whenever you want to look at, and other people can also explore those data sets, notebook, code, publication, or related, all of these knowledge elements connected together, and based on these connections, user can get other connections and relationships as well out of this. But now there is another improvement that we have in the iGuide platform, that if you want to register a new data set, in addition to registering just externally hosted data set, we now have this option to upload your own data set as well. So you can select any particular data set that you want. There are some restriction on the um, format of these data sets. So these data sets are hosted on the storage, which is available on the back end, uh, not open to the back end, open to everyone. But once it's this is once you upload your data set, you should be able to access you should be able to directly access the resource or the link that is there, and that link will be there. You can use that link in your application. You can use that link. You can share that link further. And like Anand said, we are working on the DOI part as well. That moving forward, these data set will have their own, like, not all data set, but eligible data sets will have their own DOI, which can then be used as permalinks to in your applications and in your notebooks and in your code that you can further share with the community. So essentially, there are two types. So just to summarize this, there are two types of data sets that iGuide platform support right now. One is externally hosted data set that you can just provide us the link to that, and that data set gets registered here. And the second part of the second type of data set that we support are internally hosted data set, which is a relatively new feature. If you have your own data set, you can upload it to the iGuide platform, and then once you have that in the iGuide platform, moving forward in the in the very near future, what you will have is that once you open a Jupyter Hub, iGuide Jupyter Hub, all of your data sets that you host in for inside iGuide, those will be available directly in the Jupyter Hub, and those will be mounted in your Jupyter Hub environment, and you can directly access those data sets and work with and manipulate those data set in your Jupyter environment, without the needing to actually go and download those data set and figuring out which libraries to work with to download those particular data sets. So these data sets moving forward, right now we provide you to register and upload data set. Moving forward, these data sets will be made available for you, for a user, for the iGuide platform user, inside the Jupyter Hub, where these are not just registered or stored, but these data sets can also be acted upon, and there are multiple actions, further actions, further analysis that you can do on top of this data set. So yeah, that's all from my end. Thank you. If there are any questions, I would definitely like to take it.
Thank you, Furkan. Yeah, I think that covers quite a bit of things there. So as Furkan said, we have a number of new things that have been released, which is the connection to the HPCs, both the Anvil and Texas A&M, and this is available soon. So, and if you don't have access to it, even after logging in as um, with your access ID, reach out to us, and we should be able to figure that out. The next one is the uploading of the data sets. And as I said previously, that the DOI for these data sets, which are original data sets which get uploaded, will be there will be a possibility of getting DOIs issued for these data sets as well. And the data sets will be available for manipulation from the Jupyter Hub environment side of iGuide. So, do you guys have questions? Yeah, questions. You maybe wrap my presentation up. Um, So there are some features which are coming soon. As I said, DOI. We are also making efforts to link your accounts. So for example, if you log in with Access ID and your university credential at this point, they will be considered two separate accounts. But in the near future, we will be linking that. So don't be alarmed that you have two things there. And then we are working on a Python data access package as well. So any questions or comments or like feedback on things that might be there, like, oh, this would be a good feature to have, are all welcome as well. We would like to definitely learn from how people might want to use this, what things you might see are missing, what things you might see need improvements. So we'll be happy to hear those as well. And then we have a set of VCOs that are coming along. And if you go to iGuide project, the iGuide project is at iGuide.io. And if you go to our events and virtual consulting office, you will see a bunch of our future virtual consulting office that have been scheduled. And for the ones which are in the past, we have the recordings available as well. So any questions or comments? And of course, we want to acknowledge our funders and NSF. So I'll stop sharing there. Any feedbacks, any questions, anything you would like to see more of or less of, I guess. Okay. If we don't have any further questions, we'll formally conclude this virtual consulting office session. I will hang around and maybe a couple of our team members might hang around for a bit if you have questions that you would like to ask or anything. And of course, next week, we have another virtual consulting office session. This is on the geography of human flourishing. So that's kind of totally a different style of VCO. That would be non-technical thing. So, yeah, so that's next week. And yeah, so we will stay around and we will conclude this session for now. And thank you everyone for attending.